اللَّهَ وَمَلَائِكَتَهُ يُصَلُّونَ عَلَى النَّبِيِّ يَا أَيُّهَا الَّذِينَ آمَنُوا صَلُّوا عَلَيْهِ وَسَلِّمُوا تَسْلِيمًا اللهم صل على محمد وآل محمد اللهم صل على محمد وآل محمد اللهم صل على محمد وآل محمد بسم الله الرحمن الرحيم روى عن جابر بن عبداللہ الانصاری عن فاطمة الزہرا علیہ السلام بنت رسول اللہ صلی اللہ علیہ وآلہ قال سمعت فاطمة أن خالد دخل علي برسول الله في بعض الأيام فقال السلام عليك يا فاطمة فقلت عليك السلام قال إني أجد في بدني ضعفا فقلت له أعوذك بالله يا أبتاه من الضعف فقال يا فاطمة ائتيني بالكساء اليماني فغطيني به فأتيت بالكساء اليماني فغطيت به فصرت أنظر إليه وإذا وجهه يطلع له كأنه البدر في ليلة تمامه وكماله اللهم صل على فما كانت إلا ساعة وإذا بولدي الحسن عليه السلام قد أقبل قال السلام عليك يا أمه فقلت عليك السلام يا قرة عيني سمرة فؤادي فقال يا أمه إني أشم عندك رائحة طيبة كأنها رائحة جدي رسول الله صلى الله عليه وآله فقلت نعم إن جدك تحت الكساء فأقبل الحسن عليه السلام نحو الكساء وقال السلام عليك يا جدا السلام عليك يا رسول الله أتعذر لندخل معك تحت الكساء قال وعليك السلام يا ولدي يا صاحب حوزي قد أذنت لك فدخل معه تحت الكساء اللهم صل على محمد وآل محمد فما كانت إلا ساعة وإذا بولدي الحسين عليه السلام قد أقبل وقال السلام عليك يا أمه فقلت عليك السلام يا ولدي يا قرة عيني وثمرة فؤادي فقال لي يا أمه إني أشم عندك رائحة طيبة كأنها رائحة جدي رسول الله صلى الله عليه وآله فقلت نعم إن جدك أخاك تحت الكساء فدنا الحسين عليه السلام نحو الكساء وقال السلام عليك يا جدا السلام عليك يا من اختاره الله أتعذر لندخل معكما تحت الكساء فقال وعليك السلام يا ولدي يا شافع أمتي قد أذنت لك فدخل معهما تحت الكساء فأقبل عند ذلك أبو الحسن علي بن أبي طالب عليه السلام وقال السلام عليك يا بنت رسول الله فقلت عليك السلام يا أبا الحسن ويا أمير المؤمنين فقال يا فاطمة إني أشم عندك رائحة طيبة كأنها رائحة أخي وابن عم رسول الله فقلت نعم ها هو ما ولديك تحت الكساء فأقبل علي عليه السلام نحو الكساء وقال السلام عليك يا رسول الله أتعذر لنكون معكم تحت الكساء قال له عليك السلام يا أخي ويا وصي وخليفتي وصاحب لوائي قد أذنت لك فدخل علي عليه السلام تحت الكساء ثم أتيت نحو الكساء وقلت السلام عليك يا أبتاه يا رسول الله أتعذر لنكون معكم تحت الكساء قال وعليك السلام يا بنتي يا بزأتي قد أذنت لك فدخلت تحت الكساء فلما اكتملنا جميعا تحت الكساء أخذ برسول الله بطرف الكساء وأومى بيده اليمنى إلى السماء وقال اللهم إن هؤلاء أهل بيتي وخاصتي وهامتي لحمهم لحمي ودمهم دمي يؤلمني ما يؤلمهم ويحزنني ما يحزنهم أنا حرب لمن حاربهم وسلم لمن سالمهم وعدو لمن عاداهم ومحب لمن حبهم إنهم مني وأنا منهم فاجعل صلواتك وبركاتك ورحمتك وغفرانك ورضوانك علي وعليهم واذهب عنهم الرجس وطهرهم تطهيرا اللهم صل على محمد وآل محمد فقال اللہ عز وجل یا ملائکتی سکان السماوات انی ما خلقت سماء مبنیۃ ولا ارضا مدحیہ ولا خمرا منیرا ولا شمسا مضیۃ ولا فلکا یدور ولا بحرا یجری ولا فلکا یسری الا فی محبت هؤلاء الخمسۃ الذین هم تحت الکساء فقال الامین جبرائیل یا رب من تحت الکساء فقال عز وجل هم اہل بیت النبوۃ معدن الرسالہ ہم فاطمۃ و ابوہا و بالہا و بنوہا فقال جبرائیل یا رب اتعذرون لنہبط الی الارض لیکون معہم سادسا فقال اللہ نعم قد اذنت لک فہبط الامین جبرائیل وقال السلام علیک یا رسول اللہ العلی الاعلی یقرؤک السلام یقصک بالتحیۃ والاکرام ویقول لک وعزتی وجلالی انی ما خلقت سماء مبنیۃ ولا ارضا مدحیہ ولا قمرا منیرا ولا شمسا مضیۃ ولا فلکا یدور ولا بحرا یجری ولا فلکا یسری الا لاجلکم ومحبتکم وقد اذن لی ان ادخل معکم فهل تأذن لی یا رسول اللہ فقال رسول اللہ وعلیک السلام یا امین وحی اللہ انہو نعم قد اذنت لک فدخل جبرائیل معنا تحت الکساء فقال لأبی ان اللہ قد اوحی الیکم یقول انما یرید اللہ لیذهب عنکم الرجس اہل البیت ویطہرکم تطہیرا فقال علی لأبی یا رسول اللہ اخبرنی ما لجلوسنا ھذا تحت الکساء من الفضل عند اللہ وقال النبی صلی اللہ علیہ وآلہ والذی بعثنی بالحق نبیا واصطفانی برسالت نجیا ما ذکر خبرنا ھذا فی محفل من محافل اہل الارض وفیہ جمع من شیعتنا ومحبینا الا ونزلت علیہم الرحمہ وحفت بهم الملائکۃ واستغفرت لهم الی ان یتفرقوا وقال علی علیہ السلام اذا واللہ فزنا فاز شیعتنا رب الکعبہ فقال ابی رسول اللہ صلی اللہ علیہ وآلہ یا علی والذی بعثنی بالحق نبیا واصطفانی برسالت نجیا ما ذکر خبرنا ھذا فی محفل من محافل اہل الارض وفیہ جمع من شیعتنا ومحبینا وفیہم محموم اللہ فرج اللہ ہما ولا محموم اللہ وکشف اللہ غما ولا طالب حاجت الا وخذ اللہ حاجتا فقال علی علیہ السلام اذا واللہ فزنا وسعدنا کذالک شیعتنا فازوا وسعدوا فی الدنیا والآخرۃ ورب الکعبہ. ایک سورہ فاتحہ تمام مومن مومنات کے لیے.
درود بھیجی محمد و آل محمد. والد صاحب کے سلام کے شعر پیش کروں گے. ایک اور مرتبہ درود بھیجی محمد و آل محمد. شام کا دربار ہے اور خواہر شبیر ہے. شام کا دربار ہے اور خواہر شبیر ہے، عابد مضطر کی خاطر طوق ہے زنجیر ہے، عابد مضطر کی خاطر طوق ہے زنجیر ہے، حرملا کا تیر ہے اور گردن بے شیر ہے، اے مسلمان کیا یہی اسلام کی تعمیر ہے، اے مسلمان کیا یہی اسلام کی تعمیر ہے، دین حق کو تازگی ملتی رہے گی حشر تک، کربلا والوں کے غم کی مستقل تاثیر ہے، کربلا والوں کے غم کی مستقل تاثیر ہے۔ شعر ملاحظہ فرمائے کہ وارث قرآن ہے دونوں، وہ زینب یا حسین، وارث قرآن ہے دونوں، وہ زینب یا حسین، ایک قرآن دوسری قرآن کی تفسیر ہے، ایک قرآن دوسری قرآن کی تفسیر ہے، شام کے دربار میں ایک انقلاب آنے کو ہے، اللہ اللہ کس اسیر غم کی یہ تقریر ہے، اللہ اللہ کس اسیر غم کی یہ تقریر ہے، کیا یہی اجر رسالت ہے مسلمان شام، نو کے نیزہ پر رسول اللہ کی تصویر، نو کے نیزہ پر رسول اللہ کی تصویر ہے، اصغر معصوم کے گردن پہ آیا تھا جو تیر، آج تک اسلام کے حلقوم میں وہ تیر ہے، آج تک اسلام کے حلقوم میں وہ تیر ہے، سر بھر ہے ناش خیالہ ہیں بھلوے میں جسے سر برہناش قیالا اے ہیں بلوے میں جسے فاطمہ کی جان ہے یہ وارث تطہیر ہے فاطمہ کی جان ہے یہ وارث تطہیر ہے اس سے بڑھ کر اور کیا شان مقدر ہو اسد اس سے بڑھ کر اور کیا شان مقدر ہو اسد رات دن میری نظر میں روضہ شبیر ہے رات دن میری نظر میں روضہ شبیر اس سے بڑھ کر اور کیا شان مقدر ہو اسد رات دن میری نظر میں روضہ شبیر رات دن میری نظر میں روضہ شبیر ہے شام کا دربار ہے اور خواہر شبیر ہے
سلمان محشر کی صبح نمایاں ہے شام میں کن با شفیع حشر کا ہے اژدہام میں سرننگے روح فاطمہ ہے اہتمام میں خاصان ذوالجلال خاصان ذوالجلال جبریل کی خزا دیا تشریف لائی ہے مشکل کشا کی بیٹیاں بندے میں مشکل کشا کی بیٹیاں بندے میں ہے بیچ میں کھلے ہوئے آل ابا کے سر نیزوں پہ ان کے گرد ہے فوج خدا کے سر بچوں کے سر بزرگوں کے سر اقربا کے سر روتے ہیں وارثوں کے سروں کو دکھا روتے ہیں وارثوں کے سروں کو دکھا سر رکھ کے زانوں پہ جو وارث کو روتے ہیں ظالم سروں میں ظالم سروں میں نیزے پہر ملا کے چمکتا ہے کھلال بکھرے ہوئے ہیں چاند سے منہ پر جھنڈولے بال. اولاد والے کہتے ہیں اے رب ذوالجلال اس بے زباں کے
خون کا کس نے لیا,
اس بے زباں
کے خون کا کس نے لیا.
گردش میں ہائے ہائے یہ کس کا ستارہ ہے, لے کر بلائے کہ لے کر بلائے کہ ناگاہ ہوا یزید کا دروازہ آشکار, حاضر نقیب و حاجب و دربان و چوبدار, تیغیں علم کیے ہوئے جلاد و نابکار, مجرائی بے حساب مجرائی بے حساب ایوان میں بھی رقص کا سامان تمام تھا, پر انتظار عطرت خیر الانام تھا. بولے سب ایک بار وہ آئے گناہگار, آئے قصوروار وہ آئے گناہگار, جلاد ہوشیار وہ آئے گناہگار, وہ آئے بے دیار وہ آئے بے دیار جب کہ اس کے آسمان خدا نے بنائے ہیں آل رسول آل رسول آل رسول, روکا عمر نے بڑھ کے علم کو سپاہ کو, مجرا پر آجما کے کیا بارگاہ کو, اور ہنس کے دیکھا لے رسالت پناہ کو. آواز دی نبی آواز دی نبی ہاں میں ہار روکنا اٹھو کو تھامنا, اب ہے یزید کے درے دولت کا سامنا. پہنچے مراد کو سفر اپنا تمام ہے, اترو اسیرو اترو ادب کا مقام ہے, آگے تو آستانے سلطان شام ہے, دیکھو تو کیا دیکھو تو کیا اس کی بلا میں عرش کو ہم نے ہلا دیا, گھر پنجتن گھر پنجتن گھر پنجتن سننا یہ تھا کہ سب کے جگر پر چھری چلی, اونٹوں سے اتری بیبیاں کہہ کہہ کے یا علی, آنکھیں پھرا کے رہ گئی بانوں کی لاڈلی, روح حسین روح حسین طاقت بدنی کی گھٹ گئی اور ضعف بڑھ گیا, اترے جو بے سہارے تو دم سب کا چڑھ گیا سینے میں دم ابھی نہ سمائے تھے ہے غضب جو آئے ریس مالیے ہاتھوں میں بے ادب گھبرا کے پوچھا بیووں نے تجویز کیا ہے اب بولا عمر کے
مجلس حاکم ہے
بولا عمر
کے مجلس حاکم ہے
منظور ہے کہ روح علی پھر ملول ہو مجمع میں رو پکاریے آل رسول ہو مظلومیت سے روکے یہ مظلوموں نے کہا حاکم کی یہ خوشی ہے تو پھر عذر ہم کو کیا بازار میں تو پھر چکے بے مقنع و ردا آسا کرے گا
مشکل دربار
آسا کرے گا
مشکل دربار
آسا کرے گا
مشکل دربار میں خدا
حاضر ہے لے چلو ہمیں گمراہ ہو لے چلو سر پر نہیں سر پر نہیں حسین سر پر نہیں حسین جا لے چلو
پہنچے یہ نظمیوں شہ ذیشان کے سامنے جس طرح پائے سلیمان جس طرح پائے سکینہ لاتی تھی تسکی کے واسطے خالی کٹورے گرے خالی کٹورے گرے رو کر بہان سے کہتے تھے حضرت یہ روز قد ہم زبا ہوں گے عصر کو ہم زبا ہوں گے عصر کو عجب ہے حلال میں تو یہ حکم رسول ہو حیوان کا خون بہانا حیوان کے سامنے وہاں حسرتا کے فاطمہ سر پیٹتی رہی پیاسے حسین زبا پیاسے حسین زبا سے شمر کہتا تھا لے جا سر حسین رکھ کر سینہ پا زینب ذیشان رکھ کر سینہ پا زینب ذیشان اور رکھ لے اٹھا کے سر پا ادب سے یہ چاہیے مصحف جبائے صاحب ایمان کے سامنے نیچے سر نیچے سر حسین ہو اور تخت پر یزید پھیلائے پاؤں بڑا پھیلائے پاؤں بڑا پیغمبر کی شام میں گیسو کھلے ہوئے ہیں عزائمہ میں سر پیٹتی ہے فاطمہ دار السلام میں زینب لاکت یہ بلوایا زینب یہ لاکت یہ بلوایا خبر کرو میرے نانا رسول کو بلوے میں شبر لایا ہے بنت بطول بلوے میں شبر لایا ہے بنت بطول بلوے میں شبر لایا ہے بنت بطول کو نانا تیری نواسی کے سر پر رضا نہیں اور اہل شام دیکھتے ہیں کچھ حیا نہیں عابد غریب مرتا ہے تاب سے دوا نہیں بے ہوش نے بچے آب و غذا بے ہوش نے بچے آب و غذا نہیں دل سب کے کانپتے ہیں بدن تھراتے ہیں اب سامنے یزید کے ساتھ آجا سامنے یزید کے ساتھ آجا سامنے یزید کے ساتھ آجا ایک رسان میں بارہ گلے و مصیبتہ روتے ہیں گودیوں کے پلوا مصیبتہ بزم ستم گروں کے چلوا مصیبتہ خاک عذابوں کو بلوا مجھے خاک عذابوں کو بلوا مجھے مشکل قدم اٹھانا نبی گئی بلوایا زینب تڑپ کے اٹھ پا کرتی تھی یہ بیان دربار میں طلب ہوئے سادات ناگا اونٹوں سے اتری بیبیاں کہہ کے علامہ پیشے سے لے گئے ظالم کشا پیشے لے گئے ظالم کشا پیشے لے گئے ظالم کشا سامان جشن تو دربار ریام تو حسین کا گنبہ تمام حسین کا گنبہ تمام حسین کا گنبہ تمام حسین کا گنبہ تمام تمہرے لائی نے کیا سلام بولا کہ امیر یہ شادی کا مخاب امیدوار خلت و جاگیر ہے غلام حاضر شہیدوں کے عزت حاضر شہیدوں کے عزت بڑھ کر پکارا ملا کے اپنا جگر یہ لے جب یہ خاص پیغمبر کا ساتھ جب یہ خاص پیغمبر کا ساتھ شاہ مشرق مہر سکوت لپنا شکوانا شور و شر زینب نے دیکھا تخت پا ناگا سر حسین بے ساتھ دب کے کہنے لگے ساتھ دب کے کہنے لگے ساتھ دب کے کہنے لگے شام میں بھیا میرا سلام دربار بھیا میرا سلام دربار بھیا میرا سلام دربار بھیا میرا سلام دربار
I humbly request Maulana to please come and recite the Majlis. Please welcome him with the loud salawat.
بسم الله الرحمن الرحيم الحمد لله رب العالمين ثم الصلاة والسلام على أشرف الأنبياء والمرسلين سيدي وحبيبي ونور قلبي أبي القاسم محمد اللهم صل على وعلى أهل بيته الطيبين الطاهرين المعصومين الذين أذهب الله عنهم الرجس وطهرهم تطهيرا. The request of Surah Al-Fatiha for the following marhumin: Mir Mehdi Ali Khan, Mirza Sajjad Ahmed, Badr Johan, Muhsin Begum, Mir Mumtaz Hussain. May Allah be pleased with all of them. Surah Al-Mubarakat Al-Fatiha. صلوا على محمد وآل محمد. قال الله العلي العظيم في كتابه الكريم بسم الله الرحمن الرحيم وناديناه أن يا إبراهيم قد صدقت الرؤيا إنا كذلك نجزي المحسنين إن هذا لهو البلاء المبين وفديناه بذبح عظيم صدق الله العلي العظيم. Our topic this evening is a question some of us do ask. There are two individuals in Islamic world. They are called Dhabihullah. One is known as Ismail alayhi salam, and one is known as Al-Imam Al-Hussain alayhi salam. Sometimes when they say Dhabihullah, they mean Ismail. And sometimes when they say Dhabihullah, they mean Al-Imam Al-Hussain. Now the question is, who is Dhabihullah? Is it Hussain alayhi salam? Or Ibrahim alayhi salam? Or Ismail alayhi salam? Or both of them? There's a possibility either one of them or both of them. In this majlis, we want to find out, based on the ahadith of Ahlul Bayt, when we say Dhabihullah, is it Ismail alayhi salam or is it Al-Hussain alayhi salam? Before we proceed, these verses that we read is in Surah As-Safat. It talks about Nabi Allah Ibrahim, one of the greatest messenger of Allah, a man everybody claimed to have. Every religion that we have today, the major ones, Judaism, they claim Ibrahim alayhi salam. Christianity, they claim Ibrahim alayhi salam. A Muslim claims Ibrahim as well, because of the greatness of this man. Not only that, when you go to our Quran, after Musa alayhi salam, the most mentioned prophet in Quran is Ibrahim. Out of all the prophet, the first one which Allah mentioned most than every prophet is Musa alayhi salam, and the second one is Ibrahim al-Khalil. Our Mufassirin, they said the reason why Musa and Ibrahim are mentioned the most, because what they faced in their life is not similar to anybody else. Most of the prophet, they were to deal with the people of their time. That's it. Like Ibrahim, like for example, other prophet such as Yunus alayhi salam dealt with his people. Shu'aib alayhi salam dealt with his people. Even Prophet Nuh alayhi salam dealt with his people. But some prophets, no. They were also dealt with their people along with the tyrant of their time too. So they have the people to deal with, and then they have the tyrant of the time to deal with. Musa alayhi salam dealt with Pharaoh, and then dealt with Bani Israel at the same time. He was challenged by Bani Israel. You can see in the Quran, every little thing he's tried to teach them, they have to challenge him. And he has to be patient with them from one thing to another, from one problem to another. Then on top of that, he has to deal with also Pharaoh. Ibrahim al-Khalil alayhi salam was similar. Dealt with his people and dealt with the tyrant of his time known Namrud. Namrud was known as one of the worst tyrant of the time. Not only he was the worst tyrant, he was also one of the best debaters. Very, very well educated in debate. Namrud, anybody comes to debate with him, he always wins. He was known as one of his good things, he knows how to talk. Ibrahim alayhi salam was born and raised at that time. And Ibrahim alayhi salam was born and raised in Iraq. Ibrahim lost his father at the early age. Some narration said he lost his father at the age of 3. As a matter of fact, he didn't know his father that well. And he was born at a time where Namrud was killing every child also, like Musa. Like Musa's time, how Pharaoh was dealing with children, Namrud was the same. So what happened, Ibrahim alayhi salam, when he was born, his mother, to save Ibrahim, he took him to a cave and hid there for years. And as a matter of fact, Ibrahim was raised by a single mother. You know, in Islam, there are women who raised great men by themselves. No husbands, no men, but they raised good people. One of them is also Isa ibn Maryam. Isa ibn Maryam didn't have a father figure in his life. His mother Maryam alayhi salam, she did raise him. Not only that, even our Prophet, he lost his father at the early age, and his mother has to take care of him from the time of pregnancy until the time he was born. Then Halimat al-Sa'diyya, another woman, took care of him too. And after the mother of the Prophet passed, Amina bint Wahab, then Abdul Muttalib came in, and few years he died. Then Abu Talib came in, and Abu Talib, when he took the Holy Prophet, guess who played a big role in the life of Rasulullah? Fatima bint Asad, the mother of Imam Ali alayhi salam. That the day she died, Rasulullah slept in her grave, and he said, Innaha ummi. That woman is my mother. Ya Rasulullah, why? He said, Innaha kanat tuji'u atfalaha wa tushbi'ni. She used to keep her own children hungry and make sure that I get fed first. Wa kanat tumashitu sha'ri. She used to comb my hair to look good and decent before she does for any of her children. The Prophet cried when Fatima bint Asad died. That is this great woman. So there are women who took care of great men. One of them is the mother of Ibrahim alayhi salam. After some time of his life, his uncle, who is called in the Quran Azar, he came in the picture and took Ibrahim. When he took Ibrahim alayhi salam, he was forcing every means necessary to make Ibrahim an idol worshipper. But Ibrahim alayhi salam was purified by Allah. He cannot submit and surrender to something like idol worshiping. And not only he doesn't surrender, he always questions. As he questioned them, هل يسمعونكم إذ تدعون. He said, can they hear you when you call? هل ينفعونكم أو يضرون. Can they benefit you in any way of your life, or can they hurt you in any way? Then they said, don't ask this question. And the uncle Azar used to force Ibrahim to take those idols to the market to sell them. And Ibrahim alayhi salam, when he go to the market, instead of advertising to buy, he advertised not to buy. Everybody, when you advertise something, people to come and buy it. Ibrahim, when he go to the market, this is what he says: who will buy something that will not benefit or hurt them? Are you going to buy something like that? No. Other people, when they go, they sell, they come home with cash. Ibrahim brings the same amount of idols he took to the market. Ibrahim alayhi salam could not believe in such thing until a day came when Namrud heard about Ibrahim. He's questioning about idols. He is reasoning about idols. Then he said, I want to see that young man. They brought Ibrahim, and the first thing he asked Ibrahim, Aman Rabbuk, who's your Lord that you call God, God, God? Who's that Lord? Ibrahim alayhi salam says, Rabbi alladhi yuhyi wa yumit. My Lord is the one who gives life and takes life. That was his reasoning. Namrud said, that is easy. I can do that too. If the one you call God, that's all he does, I can do that. Ibrahim said, how can you do that? He said, bring me 2 prisoners from the prison. They brought 2 prisoners. As they were standing, hey, look at Ibrahim. I said, do you see them? Yes. They are prisoners, yes? He said, yes. I said, I'm going to show you how I can save life and take life. In front of Ibrahim, he killed one of the prisoners. And he said, look, I took life and I saved life. So what is it your God is talking about? He saves life and takes life. I can do the same thing. Ibrahim alayhi salam said, okay, good, mashallah, you got this on control. I have another question for you. My Lord, Rabbi alladhi ya'ti bishamsi min al-mashriq fa'ti biha min al-maghrib. My Lord brings the sun from the east. I want you, since you're in control, you turn it and bring it from the west. Namrud is looking at Ibrahim. Yeah, Namrud, go ahead. You just prove that you're God, you can save, you can give life. Now show me how you can bring the sun from the west. Quran says, فَبُهِتَ الَّذِي كَفَرْ. Then the man who happened to be a disbeliever, he became buhit, confused. Didn't know what to do. Then he left Ibrahim. There you go. Can deal with you. Ibrahim left. Now from that day, Ibrahim alayhi salam became even very stronger, because the man, they are proud of him as king, as the logical person, as the one who knows how to debate. Ibrahim won him. That is when Ibrahim went out to call people to Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. Ibrahim started to attack their gods in a way they not even expected. And Quran mentioned the story. Finally, one day they wanted to go out to go and have their own Eid and festival. Ibrahim went and destroyed every idol that they had and left the bigger one, and took his axe and put on the shoulder of the biggest idol. When they came back, they saw all the idols are being broken into pieces. They said, Man fa'ala hadha bi alihatina. Who is he who did all of this to our gods? Then one of them says, Sami'na fatan yuqalu lahu Ibrahim. It's a young man called Ibrahim. Yadhkur alihatakum bisu. Always mention your God with bad. They bring him. They brought Ibrahim for questioning. You Ibrahim, did you do all of these? Broken the idols? Ibrahim alayhi salam says, Bal fa'alahu kabiruhum. The bigger one is the one who did it. I'm bringing this. There is one aqa'id matter here. For us as the Shia, there's a matter here. What is it? Here, along with many of scholars, they said Ibrahim lied. Why? Because Ibrahim said, فَعَلَهُ كَبِيرُهُم. The biggest one is the one who did it. Right? So which means, Ibrahim, we know that he did it, but he is now blaming to this. So that means Ibrahim is a liar. And this is where some of the scholars of Ahl Sunnah wal Jama'ah, they said, the prophets are not ma'soom. Because if a prophet can lie, which is the truth, that we know that he broke the idols, which Quran said. But then when they ask him, he said, no, the biggest one. But when you come to the Ahlul Bayt alayhimus salam, they say, no, Ibrahim is prophet, is ma'soom, and there is no way he could lie. Now how can you justify that? Ahlul Bayt say, go and read the Quran properly. Because the man who lies can never be a prophet. How can a person who can lie become a prophet to lead and become example for mankind? What example can he set for us? Every prophet, as we believe as a Shia, every prophet from Adam alayhi salam to the Khatam al-Nabiyyin, they all ma'sumin. And their isma is what? From the childhood, from the birth till death. And their isma also is isma ikhtiyariya, by choice. So how do we answer this question? Ahlul Bayt answered as follows. Ahlul Bayt said, look, Ibrahim alayhi salam, hasha, it's not possible for him to lie. But what he says is this: بل فعله كبيرهم هذا فاسألوه إن كانوا ينطقون.
Subhanallah.
If you listening to the logic of Ibrahim,
Subhanallah.
he didn't lie. He did not. Because what did he say? It says the biggest of the idol is the one who did it if he speaks. You understand the logic? If he speaks, which means if he doesn't speak, he didn't do it. Then who did it? Then I did it. But I'm telling you, if he speaks, right? Now, did he speak? No. Well, that means he didn't do it. The logic of Ibrahim alayhi salam is here. Because when he said, بَلْ فَعَلَهُ كَبِيرُهُمْ هَذَا فَاسْأَلُوا in, it's called in Arabic, حرف الشرط. It's a condition. If he speaks, then he did it. But if he did not speak, he didn't do it. And the reality, he didn't speak, which means he didn't do it. I did it. That's why later on, as you read the Quran, Quran says, "But فَلَمَّا رَجَعُوا إِلَىٰ أَنفُسِهِمْ." When they realized and came back in their own sense, they realized Ibrahim was the one who did it. Because the Ibrahim alayhi salam is prophet and ma'soom. His words are the words of logic. The words what he put for them, it was logic. But you have to think to understand what he was talking about. That is when they decided to burn Ibrahim. And when they took Ibrahim alayhi salam, they dropped him in that fire, which Quran tells us one of the lessons. And the lesson of Ibrahim today is called lesson of tawakkul. A mu'min has to have tawakkul upon Allah. Under no circumstance a mu'min should not rely on anybody except Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. During ease and difficult, rely on Allah. How do we learn from Ibrahim? It is mentioned that when they set up the fire and they brought Ibrahim, they're about to throw him in the fire, Jibreel appeared and he said to him, Ya Ibrahim, can I help you? Ibrahim said, no. So okay. Then he left. As Ibrahim was brought out on the way to the fire, he came back again the second time. Can I help you? Do you need any help? He said no. As they were about to throw him in the fire, he came for the third time and said, Ya Ibrahim, look this fire. They are going to throw you in that fire. Do you need any help? He says, no, I don't need help. Then Jibreel said, why don't you ask Allah? Then Ibrahim said, I am not asking Allah when He knows my situation better than myself. At that moment, Allah didn't say to Jibreel, go and tell. Allah spoke to the fire straight, Ya nar kuni bardan wa salaman ala. Ibrahim alayhi salam showed the lesson of tawakkul. That was the first test Allah tested Ibrahim. And every test Allah put him into, Ibrahim comes victorious. There was never a test Allah put in Ibrahim into unless he comes out victorious. Ibrahim went through 10 difficulty tests, one after the other. The last one, the first one is from the fire. The last one was the night of Tarwiyah. The night before the day of Arafah. He saw a dream. What was the dream? A dream to slaughter his son Ismail. Ibrahim woke up from the sleep and he was sweating, because he knew that as a prophet, whatever he sees in dream is real. But he wasn't sure if this is something he has to do or not. Ibrahim went back to sleep. The next day he saw the same dream. Then the third day he saw the same dream. Allahu Akbar. Ibrahim realized this is real. He has to carry the mission of Allah. What did he do? He invited his son. And what is his son? Called Ismail. Ismail was a child that Ibrahim has asked Allah for many years. Because you know Ibrahim was married to Sarah for over 80 years. And they kept asking Allah for a child, They never got one. Until the moment that Ibrahim gave up. He and his wife, they give up. Hajar was their maid, working in the house for Ibrahim and Sarah. Sarah was the one who suggested to Ibrahim to marry Hajar. Surely they got married, and then Allah blessed them with Ismail. Now this Ismail, they raised him from the birth till the moment he became 16 years. Now imagine that age, which Quran says, فَلَمَّا بَلَغَ مَعَهُ السَّعِي. A sa'i means at the time where you can benefit from your child by asking them to run some errands. Get me a water, go to the store, pick this, do this, right? At that age, Allah told Ibrahim, I want you to slaughter your son. Can you imagine how difficult this could be? Ibrahim alayhi salam, he called his son Ismail. He said, Ya Ismail, inni ara fil manami anni adbahuk. He said, my son, I saw in a dream that Allah is asking me to slaughter you. But you know, our prophet, they're amazing. He is giving his son this option. In other words, the democracy. The Prophet Ibrahim alayhi salam was the democratic father. He wasn't imposing on his son. No, he says, فَانظُرْ مَاذَا تَرَى. Allah is asking me to do this, but I want your opinion too. Think, what do you think? Allahu Akbar. Now look at the son, Ismail. He respond to his father. He said, Ya abati fa'al ma tu'mar. My father, do whatever. No, he didn't say, Ya abati if'al ma tasha. No, he said, if'al ma tu'mar. Do what you were ordered by Allah to do. That is your part. What about my part? He said, Satajiduni insha'Allah min as-sabirin. He said, but you will find me one of the patients. That was Ismail alayhi salam. Now Ismail alayhi salam, he accepted this order of Allah, and they both accepted. And Quran says in Surah Safat, فَلَمَّا أَسْلَمَا. When both of them, the father and the son, they surrender and submit their will to the will of Allah. You know, brothers, this is a big lesson for all of us here. Allah is telling us, فَلَمَّا أَسْلَمَا. At-taslim here meaning submission. A person to give your life for Allah, you need a full submission. On the day of Ashura, you hear Imam Hussain made that comment too. When he was going back and forth in A'mal, we do رضا بقضائه وتسليما لأمره. That is the taslim, fully submission to the will of Allah. Ya Allah, I know this is your will, and as long as this is your will, I am fully in submission to your will. That is Ibrahim alayhi salam. Also in his son, Allah said aslama, they surrender. But before the mission, Ibrahim alayhi salam, he was sitting thinking. His son Ismail come to him. He said, my father, I have a request from you. What is it? He says, I know that we're going to carry the mission of Allah. But I have few requests from you as a father. What is it? So number one, I want you to tie my face on the day that you're going to carry the mission of Allah. Ibrahim asked him, why should I cover your face? He says, so that I don't see you when you put the knife to slaughter me. Because when I see you, I might fight you back. I might react. And I don't want to do the smallest thing to displease Allah. That is my first request. Ibrahim, when he heard this, he started crying. Then he said, my father, I have another request. What is the request? I said, also, when you take me to slaughter me, I want you to tie my hands at the back, so that I will not have opportunity to even think of struggling with you during the carrying the mission of Allah. Abraham said, okay, what else? I said, my father, number three, I want you at the time of slaughtering, I want you to take my shirt off. Why? He said, I don't want my blood to touch that shirt. And when you bring it home and my mother sees it, she might not be able to kill it. Wallah, tonight I want us to remember Layla, Ali al-Akbar, Ali al-Asghar. Remember those mothers. Ismail said, I don't want my mother to see my blood on my shirt, not on me, on my shirt. He said, then she cannot handle it. Her heart will be broken, and for the rest of her life, she will not forget it. Where are the mothers of Qasim? Where are the mother of Ali al-Asghar? Where are the mothers of Ali al-Asghar, Akbar, all of them? You know, the mothers of these women are the greatest women. And on top of that, Zainab Salamullahi alayha, who saw the janazah of her own two sons, Aun and Muhammad, and the first thing she does was to stand and face towards the Qibla and said, Allahumma taqabbal minna hadha al-Qurban. Now Ismail alayhi salam, he said, my mother cannot handle it because it's too much for her. So, Ya Ibrahim, take the shirt off. I said, number four, Ya Ibrahim, as you slaughter me, I want you to take my face down. Slaughter me from the back. And Ibrahim, as he was listening to his son, he said, Ya Bunayya, my son, I cannot put all of this on one person. I cannot do all of it. But one thing I can do for you, as you request, I can cover your face. And Quran mentioned this in Surah Al-Safat, فَلَمَّا أَسْلَمَ وَتَلَّهُ لِلْجَبِينِ. When Ibrahim covered his face, the narration says, on that day, as he took him, and that is why there's a relationship between this and Imam Hussain alayhi salam. When he took him to the place where he's supposed to slaughter Ismail alayhi salam, on their way, Shaitan appeared. And Ismail alayhi salam saw and he showed to Ibrahim. Ibrahim took stones and threw it at Shaitan. Shaitan disappeared. Then as they continue, he came the second time, the third time, which today is called Jamarat al-Aqabat al-Sughra wal-Wusta wal-Kubra. But Ibrahim did not surrender to this Shaitan, and he continued. When he got to that place and he put his son covered with face, and he took the sword out in carrying the mission of Allah. Here the Quran says, and the tafsir also mentioned, that as he took the sword, he put under the neck of Ismail to slaughter, Allah Rabbul Alameen ordered to the knife and told the knife, do not touch the skin of Ismail. Ismail was there, Ibrahim was slaughtering, but the Lord of the knife is telling the knife, do not slaughter. Ibrahim continue slaughtering. He couldn't. And later on, Allah said, وَفَدَيْنَاهُ بِذِبْحٍ عَظِيمٍ. Allah said, we sacrifice for Ismail ذِبْحٌ عَظِيم, greatest sacrifice. There is two tafsirs here. Tafsir number one said, Allah sent him down a sheep which was slaughtered instead of Ismail. Ibrahim, after he slaughtered, he looked down and he saw it's a sheep. He looked on the right side, his son was standing there. Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala took Ismail out and put the sheep, and the sheep was slaughtered. Then Ibrahim asked Allah, Ya Rabb, I didn't slaughter my son. Then Allah said, yes, Ya Ibrahim, لَقَدْ رَفَعْنَا عَنْكَ التَّكْلِيفِ. We lifted the taklif on you. And what did you do, Ya Allah? He said, then instead of Ismail, we have now chose someone to be slaughtered, and he is the dhibhun azim. Ibrahim asked, Ya Rabb, وَمَنْ هُوَ الذِّبْحُ الْعَظِيمُ? Then the tafsir says, Allah told Ibrahim, الذبح العظيم هو الحسين بن علي. Then Ibrahim asked, Ya Rab, وَمَنْ هُوَ الحسين بن علي? Who is Hussain ibn Ali? He says, Hussain is the grandson of my beloved messenger who will be slaughtered and killed in the land of Karbala. And Ibrahim asked, Ya Rab, وَمَا الْكَرْبَلَى? Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala said, Ya Ibrahim, Karbala is a city in Iraq where Imam al-Hussein will be slaughtered, and he is the dhibhun azim. Ibrahim alayhi salam went to Karbala and visited Karbala, and when he got to Karbala, the narration says he sat there and cried until the land where he was sitting became wet from the tears of Ibrahim. Then Ibrahim said, Ya Allah, you lifted the responsibility of dhibh and you put the dhibh on whom? On Imam al-Hussein alayhi salam. So Ahl al-Bayt, when they said dhibhun azim, they meant Imam al-Hussein alayhi salam. And here we believe our Imams are better than the rest of the Prophet. Here Ibrahim and Ismail, they wanted to sacrifice, but they did not sacrifice. There's a difference, they wanted to, and different between he did it. Ibrahim alayhi salam and Ismail, they wanted to do the sacrifice, but here Imam Hussain, he did the sacrifice. So who is dhibhun azim here? The one who wanted to but didn't do it, or the one who was slaughtered in the land of Karbala? That is why Al-Imam Zayn al-Abidin salamullahi alayhi, as he described, he says, أنا ابن المذبوح بأرض كربلاء. He said, I am the son of the one who really got slaughtered, not the one who wanted to slaughter and didn't slaughter. No, he was slaughtered in the land of Karbala. That is الذبيح الذبح العظيم in the Tariq of Ahlul Bayt alayhi salam. Is nobody but Imam al-Hussein alayhi salam, and he is what we call al-dhibh al-azim. So when Allah said in the Quran وَفَدَيْنَاهُ, which means and we sacrifice him, which Ibrahim alayhi salam, Allah lifted the responsibility on the shoulder of Ibrahim and put it on dhibhun azim. So in the tafsir of Ahlul Bayt, al-dhibh al-azim is al-Imam al-Hussein alayhi salam. That is the dhibh al-azim. On the day of Ashura, when Imam al-Hussein alayhi salam looked left and right, and there was nobody left among his companions. He went to the tent and he started to make a call. هل من ناصر ينصرنا هل من معين يعيننا هل من ذاب يذب عن حرم رسول الله. Nobody came out except Imam Zain al-Abidin Salamullahi alayhi. He was sick as he was. He came leaning on the stick, coming to his father. Zainab alayhi salam, she asked him, where are you heading to? She said, didn't you heard my father Imam al-Hussain was calling هل من ناصر ينصرنا هل من معين يعيننا. He said, وجب علي, it's wajib upon me to respond to the call of Ma'soom. As he walked towards Imam Hussain alayhi salam, Imam Hussain rushed towards Imam Zain al-Abidin and he told him, Bunayya, go back, I don't want you to be killed. Then the lineage of Ahlul Bayt will come to an end. He took him back. Zainab Salamullahi alayha, who is known as Ummul Masa'ib. Ummul Masa'ib, Zainab alayhi salam. If you look at the Ummul Masa'ib, everywhere you can see, you can find nobody who is Ummul Masa'ib except Zainab alayhi salam. She lost her mother when she was at the age, very young age. Did not get a chance to share the time and be happy with her mother. And she have to have only Imam Amir al-Mu'mineen. On the day Imam Ali was struck, was taken home, Imam Ali alayhi salam, Allahu Akbar, as he was they were bringing him home. For the first time they carried Imam Ali to the house. As they reached the door, Imam Ali said to Imam Hassan and Hussain, he said, Naziluni, please keep me down, put me down. Then Imam al-Hassan asked, Dad, we're always home, let's take you in. He said, no, let me walk to home. Why? He said, Zainab wara al-bab. I saw Zainab behind the door. She is crying. She is hoping for the best. I don't want you to carry me in the house. That will break her heart even more. Allahu Akbar. When Imam Hussain alayhi salam, they took Imam Ali to the house. Now, for the first time, when Imam Ali was struck in the masjid in Masjid al-Kufa, Imam Hassan and Hussain, they were crying. Imam Ali was telling them, Sabran, my children, be patient. But when he was gotten to the home and Zainab saw her and he started crying, for the first time, Imam Ali didn't say Sabr, he also cried with Zainab alayhi salam. And he said to Zainab, Ya Zainab, I want you to know the worst tragedy is on your way coming in the Karbala. Ya Zainab, Rabatallahu kalbak, may Allah straighten your heart. I will not be to support you, but I know in the mawqif, the stand is very difficult. Ya Zainab. Zainab alayhi salam, she has to deal with all of that. Now then her brother Imam Hassan alayhi salam, now on the day of Ashura, Zainab alayhi salam, she was standing until Zainabiyya, because Imam Hussain told her, Ya Zainab, don't worry, as long as you can hear La hawla wa la quwwata illa billah, that means I'm still alive. Zainab, she used to come there to hear La hawla wa la quwwata illa billah, then she goes back. But for the final time when she came, she did not hear La hawla wa la quwwata illa billah. She was standing there, can I hear the word? Can I hear? She then was forced to come to the battlefield, looking, where's Hussein? Where's my brother? She finally located the body of Imam Hussain alayhi salam. As she stood there, she says, Anta ibn walidi. Are you the son of my father? Are you Hussein? Can you talk to me? There was no response. Then she said, Ya Hussein, ayawmun ala thara wa yawmun ala sadri Rasulillah. He said, one day you are on the chest of the Prophet and one day on the plain of Karbala. Zainab alayhi salam, in the also court of Yazid, as she walked in with Imam Hussain al-Abidin salamullahi alayhi, as courageous as she could be. She was in that place and she was looking at this Yazid la'natullahi alayhi. She said to him, Ya Yazid, أظننت على الله عليك الهوان? Do you think Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala has honored you and humiliated us? يا يزيد أمن العدل أنك تصون حرائرك وبنات رسول الله يسبى من بلد إلى بلد. Is it fair to you that you kept your women, your children, your daughters safe, and the daughters of the Prophet were being dragged from one city to another and being humiliated from every angle? Then she says, Yabna Tulaqa, oh, the son of the ones who were freed when Mecca was freed. It says, look, Isa'ayak, do whatever you want to do. Wakid kaidak, and plot as much as you want. But one thing you have to remember, فَوَاللَّهِ لَا تَمْحُوا ذِكْرَنَا. One thing you have to remember, you can never wipe our memory that Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala gave us. Imam Zayn al-Abidin salamullah alayh, he asked to get on that podium to speak about this tragedy of Imam Hussain alayhi salam. As Imam Hussain spoke, Yazid wanted to kill Imam Zayn al-Abidin salamullah alayh. Zainab alayhi salam, she came and she put her body on Zayn al-Abidin and she said to him, Ya Yazid, فَوَاللَّهِ لَا تَقْتُلُوا حَتَّى تَقْتُلْنِي. You cannot dare to kill him unless you kill me first. That is Zainab alayhi salam. But the worst part of the tragedy is Sukayna salamullahi alayhi, the daughter of Imam Hussain alayhi salam. The worst part of her tragedy on the day of Ashura, when Umar ibn Sa'ad said to his soldiers, احرقوا بيوت الظالمين, burn the houses of Zalimin. When they started to set fire on the tent of ABDUL, as the fire started to catch, Zainab salamullahi alayha, she started to take children away from the fire. But Zainab alayhi salam, she was looking for her father Imam Hussain. She got lost. She was running from one tent to another looking for shelter. She could not locate a shelter. Finally she entered one tent. She was standing hoping that she got shelter. A fire catches on her dress. She started running. As she was running, Hamid ibn Muslim said, I saw her and I started chasing Sukayna. When I chased her to help her, she continued to run and run, thinking that it was one of the enemies. At some point she stopped and she says, Ya Shaykh, anta lana am alayna? Are you with us or against us? Hamid ibn Muslim says, Wallahi la lakum wa la alaykum. I'm not with you or against you, but I saw a fire on your dress. I wanted to set it off. Would you allow me? She said, go ahead. He set up the fire. Then she said, Ya Shaykh, ana atshar. I am thirsty. Do you have water? The man said, no, I don't have water, but come with me to the Nahr al-Alkami, to the Nahr al-Furat. He said, I took this Sukayna to the river. I said to her, Ya Sukayna, hadha naharun, drink as much as you want. She was standing there looking at the river. She would not drink. Hamid ibn Muslim said, I was wondering why it's taking her too long. I turned towards her face, for I saw her, she was crying. He asked her, why are you crying? You were thirsty, drink. She said, Ya Shaykh, ashrabu wa kad kutila abi atshana. Why should I drink when my father was just killed next to the river Atshana? Hamid ibn Muslim said, I broke my heart. I was crying too. Then she said to me, Ya Shaykh, Aina tariq Najaf. I want to go to Najaf. Hamid ibn Muslim said, I asked her, why do you want to go to Najaf? She said, Sami'tu anna lana harama. I heard we have a haram in Najaf where my grandfather was buried. I want to go there and complain to my grandfather, Imam Ali alayhi salam, how they treated us, how they killed my father while he was thirsty. Inna lillah wa inna ilayhi raji'un wa saya'lamu alladhina zalamu ayya munqalabin yanqalibun wal aqibatu lil muttaqin. Ya Hussain, Ya Hussain, يا حسين
جزاكم الله يا حسين يا حسين يا حسين يا حسين يا حسين يا حسين يا حسين
بے رضا زینب کھڑی ہے شام کا دربار ہے بے رضا زینب کھڑی ہے شام کا دربار ہے بے رضا زینب کھڑی ہے شام کا دربار ہے بے رضا زینب کھڑی ہے شام کا دربار ہے عالم غربت میں آل احمد مختار ہے اب نہ لشکر ہے نہ عباس سے وقت کی رفتار ہے آئے کیا بدلی ہوئی اب وقت کی رفتار شام کا دربار ہے بے رضا زینب کھڑی ہے شام کا دربار ہے ظلم ہے کرسی نشی کن بانبی کا ہے کھڑا اور ایک بیمار ہے زنجیر میں جکڑا ہوا ہے رسن میں سب کے شانے اور سکینہ کا گلا ہے رسن میں سب کے شانے اور سکینہ کا گلا ہائے بچی کے لیے اب سانس لینا بار ہے بے رضا زینب کھڑی ہے شام کا دربار ہے بے رضا زینب کھڑی ہے شام کا دربار ہے غمزدہ مادر کی آنکھوں میں اندھیرا چھا گیا نوجوان بیٹے کا سر دربار میں لایا گیا جان لیلا سے یہ منظر کس طرح دیکھا گیا جان لیلا سے یہ منظر کس طرح دیکھا گیا کیسی غربت میں شبیہ ہے احمد مختار ہے بے رضا زینب کھڑی ہے شام کا دربار ہے بے رضا زینب کھڑی ہے شام کا دربار ہے وہ علی اصغر کا سر جیسے کوئی تازہ کلی مادر بے شیر کی جس دم نظر اس پر پڑی گود میں لے کر سلانے کی تمنا جاگ اٹھی گود میں لے کر سلانے کی تمنا جاگ اٹھی ہاتھ رسی میں بندھے ہیں ماں بہت لاچار ہے بے رضا زینب کھڑی ہے شام کا دربار ہے بے رضا زینب کھڑی ہے شام کا دربار ہے پاس باقی نہیں کوئی نہیں اب آسرا فاطمہ کی بیٹیوں پر وقت کیسا آ گیا دل یہی کہتا ہے اختر اب علی کو دے صدا دل یہی کہتا ہے اختر اب علی کو دے صدا، آپ کی بیٹی کو مولا ایک ردا درکار ہے، بے ردا زینب کھڑی ہے شام کا دربار ہے، بے ردا زینب کھڑی ہے شام کا دربار ہے،
فلک تشت کو جاؤ سر شبیر کو جاؤ، ای فلک تشت کو جاؤ سر شبیر کو جاؤ، بزم مائی خار کو جا زینب دلگیر کو جا،
اے فلک تشت کو جاؤ سر شبیر کو جاؤ، اے فلک تشت کو جاؤ سر شبیر کو جاؤ، بزم میں خار کو جا زینب دلگیر کو جا،
ای فلک تشت کو جاؤ سر شبیر کو جاؤ، ای فلک تشت کو جاؤ سر شبیر کو جاؤ، بزم مائی خار
کو جا زینب دلگیر کو جا، اے
فلک تشت کو جاؤ سر شبیر کو جاؤ،
اے فلک تشت کو جاؤ سر شبیر کو جا، بزم کو جا زینب دلگیر کو جا،
یوسف آل نبی، یوسف آل نبی بود اسیر زندہ، حیف سجاد کجا توخ گل و پیر کجا، یا علی حیف سجاد کجا توخ گل و گیر کجا،
اے فلک تشت کو جاؤ سر شبیر کو جا، اے فلک تشت کو جاؤ سر شبیر کو جا، بزم میں خار کو جا زینب دلگیر کو جا،
ای فلک تشت کو جاؤ سر شبیر کو جاؤ، ای فلک
کو جا، اے فلک تشت کو جاؤ سر شبیر کو جا، اے فلک سر شبیر کو جا، بزم میں خار کو جا زینب دلگیر کو جا،
دختر عقدہ کشا، دختر عقدہ کشا اے دو جہاں گشتہ اسیر، مجلس شام کجا صاحب تطہیر کجا،
یا علی
ای فلک تشت کو جاؤ
سر شبیر کو جا، اے فلک تشت کو جاؤ سر شبیر کو جا، بزم میں خار کو جا زینب دلگیر کو جا،
ای فلک تشت کو جاؤ سر شبیر کو جا، ای فلک تشت کو جاؤ سر شبیر کو جا، بزم مائی خار کو جا
زینب دلگیر کو جا، اے فلک تشت کو جاؤ سر شبیر کو جا، اے فلک تشت کو جاؤ سر شبیر کو جا، بزم میں کو جا زینب دلگیر کو جا،
دختر عقدہ کشا، دختر عقدہ کشا اے دو جہاں گشتہ اسیر، مجلس شام کجا صاحب تطہیر، یا علی حسین امام مذبوح واویلا،
حسین امام مذبوح واویلا،
حسین امام مذبوح واویلا،
حسین امام مذبوح واویلا،
زینب کے ناتی مدلو واویلا،
حسین امام مذبوح واویلا،
ابو الفضائل مذبوح واویلا،
حسین امام مذبوح واویلا،
حسین امام مذبوح واویلا، یا علی
مذبوح واویلا،
واویلا
واویلا،
واویلا
واویلا،
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 یا علی یا امام۔
السلام علیکم یا عبداللہ، السلام علیکم یا رسول اللہ، السلام علیکم جمیع شہداء دشت کربلا خصوصاً سیدی مولا ابوالفضل عباس ابن امیر المومنین السلام علیکم ورحمۃ اللہ وبرکاتہ. السلام علیکم یا غریب الغرباء. السلام علیکم یا معین الضعفاء الفقراء السلطان ابو الحسن یا